What's going on, and welcome to Joe's Geek Show, the video series where we talk comics. And before we get started, if you're gonna like to support the channel, you can do so by hitting that like button, clicking that subscribe button, and sharing. And with that, well, these are my thoughts on Moon Knight episode 2. So in this episode, we have Stephen Grant, who's kind of dealing with the fallout of the events of the previous episode. Mostly him getting chased around by an Egyptian hellhound, and there's some damage to the museum. And some very interesting things happen with this setup, especially when they look at the security cameras, and effectively things don't really go in Steven's favor. Thus, he decides he wants to go out and start investigating a little bit on this Mark guy. And he does get some answers, and maybe even gets, a little bit more than he bargained for, because this investigation also leads him to meet Layla. Yeah, you remember that girl from the phone call in the previous episode? Well, she's here now, and Steven finds out that Layla and Mark are, shall we say, close. The scene is also kind of interesting because it points out something very fascinating about Stephen Grant's personality himself, and that a lot of this particular personality seems to be based off of Layla. Then of course, some stuff happens. Stephen Grant gets another showdown with Arthur Harrow. Oh yeah, and Stephen actually summons the suit this time, but not the suit that Mark did. Instead, he pulls out the Mr. Knight suit, and the show kind of frames it in a way so that's kind of like whoever's personality is in control, they kind of get to dictate how the suit ends up looking to a degree. So while Mark chooses to look at the more classical, hand, fist of Khonshu sort of warrior, Steven's like, okay, you told me to put on a suit, so he put on just a suit. And honestly though, as this episode's going on, and I'm seeing more and more between, episode 1 and this one, specifically about Stephen Grant, and that how long has this guy been a personality? I mean, he's been one long enough to be able to, get a job, establish some kind of social connections, because, people at his work know who he is. And I still have questions about him calling his mom. I mean, is he actually calling, Mark's mom, or did Mark, implant some kind of fake number memory thing into his head where he's actually calling nobody? Is it Frenchie? And then there was one or two lines in this episode that kind of made me wonder, was he created after Mark took on Khonshu's powers, and it was sort of like a side effect from being given those powers in a vulnerable state? Also, are we ever going to get the cab driver Jake Lockley's personality? Well, this show's only, 6 episodes, so probably not. But at the end of the day, I was still entertained, I mean, again, it's nothing really like the Moon Knight comics that I have read for the ones that I did, but I feel like I laughed where they wanted me to laugh. I was engaged where they wanted me to be engaged. And, for a Marvel series, it's pretty fun. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.